Tokio Myers doesn't really do small. Perched in his studio in Battersea, grinning a slightly wonky grin, the winner of Britain's Got Talent is coolly explaining to me why his debut album will change the course of human history. "This is a powerful album, man, a very powerful album," he says. "Am I making music just to please people who saw me on Britain's Got Talent? Definitely not. This album for me is a much bigger mission. It's for the people, man. I'm writing this album for the Fing people, do you know what I mean? In case the whole phenom passed you by." Myers, 32, was the surprise winner of the 2017 edition of Simon Cowell's talent contest, which made him £250,000 and one record deal richer. He's a classically trained pianist and experienced session player from Kilburn, where it's fair to say his music idol, Rachmaninoff, man, is not on everyone's playlist. He won over the public with his pyrotechnic mashups, Debussy's Clair de Lune spliced with Ed Sheeran's Bloodstream, Say, or Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata plus Adele's Someone Like You, played on grand piano and synthpad, with everything turned up to mathematically impossible percentages. Cowell declared himself to be thrilled at the victory. Amanda Holden considered it as cool as when Diversity won. There's a feeling that Myers might not just have the proverbial talent but that his music might one day reverberate at an Olympics closing ceremony, or a Cirque du Soleil spectacular. Next week, he will be performing in the Tanks Gallery at Tate Modern, at a party to celebrate the Evening Standard's Progress 1000. I sometimes think about what it would be like to be an alien looking down on human society, seeing us all in a festival worshipping a beat. Can you imagine how strange that looks for an outsider? That's magic right there, he says. Myers calls his music a big cinematic festival of sound. He touches a few buttons on his laptop and immerses me in it, flexing his long, serpentine fingers. One of the songs is called Children. It's a reinterpretation of the mid-90s chill-out hit Children, only with ominous brass and Amazonian choirs and jungle drums, to which he adds not only the kitchen sink, but various white goods, bathtubs and power tools too. For someone who makes such enormous music, Myers-born Torval Jones is a pretty chilled-out guy. He's a perfect apostle of the Cowell Creed. "It's my responsibility now to show other people that they too have the power to create, but this is leavened with a maverick toughness, as well as a hard-won sense of perspective." In December 1995, when he was 11, he was practicing piano after hours at St. George's School in Maida Vale when his piano teacher, Joe Morgan, burst into the room. The school's head teacher, Philip Lawrence, had just been stabbed by a gang member outside the school gates and would later die of his wounds. "As I leave the music room, I see the headmaster coming into the atrium area and collapsing onto the floor, with blood everywhere," Myers recalled for the TV cameras. "Mr. Morgan was trying to shelter me, and he took me to a safe place and then just said go. Ever since that day I have thought that me and him have some bond." Now that he's related the story once for the TV cameras, he's reluctant to dwell on it. Obviously it was a very dark time for all of us, and yes, it did play a massive part in me wanting to channel that energy into music. So I think it's important to question, why are they taking music out of schools for someone who used music as an escape route? The dismissal of the creative arts from our school curriculum is a subject he finds enraging. The reason people are going mad and depressed is they're unable to express themselves and create. Human beings are on this planet to create. The moment you stifle that, bad things happen. I think it's really important for people to have something that releases that, carve wood, whatever. I really want to switch those lights back on. London gigs and tours, the best of what's on now and what's coming up. Myers came from a modest home on the 16th floor of a council tower block. His dad has done every type of job, from chef to construction worker, and his mum works in hospitals. Music was a constant. "I come from a Jamaican family background. Music, dancing and personal expression were very important to us. My dad was a great collector of records, from reggae to the Beatles and Led Zeppelin. I can remember trolling through all these records looking at the artwork. When he was 9, his dad bought him his first electronic keyboard, and it transformed him. I would fly through the books. There's something so fascinating about the learning process. You clock one level, you clock another level. It becomes addictive. You go through these books and before you know it, you feel these powers starting to form." Under Morgan's tutelage, he would go on to study at the Royal Academy of Music, where he developed his tastes. He particularly likes the Romantics, Chopin, Ravel, Tchaikovsky, Debussy. After graduating, he was later recruited to play keys for the funk soul outfit Mr. Hudson and the Library on his way to a Stravinsky concert. The Progress 1000, in partnership with Citi, and supported by Invisalign, is the Evening Standard's celebration of the people who make a difference to London life. Progress 1000 Mr. Hudson were a reasonable-sized deal in the late 2000s and offered a glimpse of the biggest stages, supporting Amy Winehouse, The Police and Kanye West. We got to spend quality time with all these people. I was in awe of Amy. She was the first artist I was ever starstruck by. IWASNT by Stinger Kanye, but she had an aura about her. I remember her running up to me giving me hugs. I was this little kid with a big afro at the time. I think she just found me cute. He left Mr. Hudson in 2013 but carried on as a sideman, most recently for Lianne La Havas, feeling a sense of diminishing returns. I felt like the industry had gone down a certain route. IWASNT able to express myself. Pop music changed and became dull and boring. IDIDNT like being a session player anymore. What changed it was more to do with the sound. IWASNT doing anything for me. All the chord structures were becoming too basic and unidimensional. I was like, really, is this all I need to do all night? It came to feel like a job. I might as well have had a suit and tie and a briefcase. So he left these well-paid gigs and decided to piece himself back together again. He accepted a few menial gigs playing background music in shopping centers, and it was here that he developed his own style. The Jean-Michel Jarre of Westfield. When you've had a taste of the life and you find yourself in a shopping mall with people walking past you, ignoring you, it's a come down. But there would be days when it could be amazing. He conceived of his current setup in Westfield Shepherd's Bush, of all places. He bought an electronic drum pad and started to play that in addition to the keyboard. I didn't really care if anyone was listening. I could express myself under these big chandeliers. It was a nice space. So that was where I found the essence of what I do now. It's about not overthinking it. Follow your gut. Sometimes you don't know where you need to go, but you know you need to get out. And the rest follows. You meet people, as happens. Then you understand why you had to do that. It was his sister who suggested he try BGT, which he wasn't expecting to win. I'm not going to lie, FIDIDNT have that background IDBS scared right now. It's a whole big machine, labels, albums, promo. But because I've seen all that before, it feels more effortless now. He hopes to use part of the prize money to set up a music school for disadvantaged children. In the meantime, he's found a nice place near Epping Forest, where he lives with his girlfriend of 4 years. She's amazing. She's been my rock. He won't reveal her name or what she does. Meanwhile, he's had his first #1 single. He helped to oversee the recording of Bridge Over Troubled Water, the charity single for the victims of the Grenfell disaster, featuring Stormzy, Emily Sandé, Robbie Williams, Rita Ora, Bastille and dozens of others. It's messed up what happened, he says. There are many places like that in the UK and around the world. People shouldn't be having to live in those situations. I lived in a council flat growing up. The lifts weren't working. The walls were like cardboard. It's like, come on, this is 2017, we can do better than this. What is money? At the end of the day, it's just a few figures. When things like that happen, it really bothers me to know that the powers that be really don't give a s. I don't know how they sleep at night. But we do our bit to keep the communities going. Tokio Myers releases his debut album, Our Generation, on November 17. Each year, the London Evening Standard reveals the capital's 1,000 most influential people in fields as diverse as sport, business, the arts, medicine, politics, the media, music, fashion, the charity sector, high finance, technology, education, film and mathematics. At a star-studded awards event, we also announced the overall most influential Londoner, and previous winners during Progress 1000's 10 years include Sadiq Khan, former England rugby captain Chris Robshaw, and then Chancellor George Osborne. Prince Charles was named Londoner of the Decade last year. This year's Progress 1000 awards will be held on Thursday, October 19th, and you can follow the build-up here at standard.co.uk, as well as the event on the night when we unveil 2017's most important 1000 figures in our great city.